Okay, you are good to go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Virginia Harger, Chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021, and the special meeting of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission being conducted entirely via Zoom is hereby called to order. Protocol for today's and that time is 6:02 p.m. The protocol for today's meeting was previously reviewed by Corporation Counsel, who indicated to me it is compliant with the executive orders issued by the governor, if you're for those watching from a remote location. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'll start off with a roll call of the commission. Please verbally indicate you are present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Commissioner Amato. Here. Commissioner Tiki.
Present.
Myself, Commissioner Harger. Alternate Commissioner Laskos.
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Usel.
Present.
Mr. Rossetti, our administrator.
Present.
Mr. O'Neill, our assistant administrator and CEO.
Yep.
Ms. Vernazos, our recording secretary.
Present.
And Ms. Charbonneau, our stenographer. She's on this, there you are. Stephanie, can you speak up? Okay, we heard you now. For the record, Commissioner Parkins and Commissioner Radomski both indicated to me they would be unavailable for today's meeting. Alternate Commissioner Laskos, you're being seated for Commissioner Parkins.
Understood.
Thank you. A couple of points before continuing with today's agenda. This is the Commission's 46th meeting being done via a live streaming process. Mr. Rossetti will act as the Zoom meeting host, while commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting. The chair asks that you please identify yourself and wait to be recognized by the chair before speaking to make sure we're not all speaking over each other and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. Our first agenda item is old business application 21-20 PDD number 39 Constitution Square, Rose Tissot and Company LLC for RD Cinto Inc. at the southern intersection of Constitution Boulevard and Waterview Drive. Assessors map 65, lots 27 and 28 on 11.1 acres for a major modification of PDD number 39 for detailed development plans incorporating an 80,000 square foot manufacturing, business office, and warehouse facility. This application was accepted for review on August 10th. Several documents pertaining to this application were posted to the city's website. An application for modification of PDD number 39, a statement of uses and standards for PDD number 39, site plans, detailed development plans, revised detailed development plans, an engineering report, comments from the city engineer, fire marshal, and the public, and a series of pictures. At our meeting on September 8th, the applicant and his representatives presented their proposal, which included a history of the site and previous proposals to construct a building, and answered questions from the commission and the public. Public hearing was closed, and following a discussion by the commission voted unanimously to direct staff to prepare a favorable resolution. And I have that resolution here.
Madam Chair, point of information. This is Commissioner Usal. Did you mention that there are two commissioners not in attendance?
Yes, we have.
Will I be seated?
Yes, you can be seated for Commissioner Radomski.
Okay,
Sure.
sounds good.
So I will add you to that. All right. Thank you. All right, so the resolution Was posted to the city's website. Mr. Rossetti, did you want to bring that up while I read it, or?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission, September 16th, 2021, revised September 17th, 2021, for consideration at the September 22nd, 2021 meeting of the commission. Regarding application 21-20, application of Rose Tissot and Company LLC on behalf of Artie Cinto Inc. for conditional approval of modified detailed development plans for a light industrial facility consisting of one building on a site located at the intersection of Waterview Drive and Constitution Boulevard South, currently zoned Plan Development District number 39, PDD number 39, and formerly identified as Constitution Square. The applicant has submitted an application for a major modification to previously approved detailed development plans for PDD number 39 to establish a single-story light industrial building containing 80,000 square feet for office, research, assembly, and warehousing space on an 11.2 acre site located on the northerly side of Waterview Drive at its southerly connection with Constitution Boulevard South in the Shelton Heights Industrial Park. The owner of record is Constitution Square of Shelton, care of Artie Cinto Inc. The site is bordered on the north by Pitney Bowes, on the west by vacant land now or formerly of Manuel Motino, and on the east and south by Waterview Drive, and a limited portion of Constitution Boulevard South. The limited frontage on Constitution Boulevard South is encumbered by a non-access restriction. On the opposite side of Waterview Drive is the Rivendell condominiums. The proposed use is consistent with the Statement of Uses and Standards, SOUS of PDD number 39, as amended effective July 2nd, 2021, and complies with the applicable zoning requirements. The site is topographically challenged with an elevation rise of some 80 to 90 feet from the Constitution Boulevard South corner up to the most reasonably developable portion of the site along the northerly property line. Proposed regrading of the site will result in a cut of some 15 to 20 feet near the northerly property line and a fill embankment about 20 feet along portions of the easterly and southerly developed area. Extensive existing vegetative cover supplemented with additional natural screening where needed in combination with the substantially smaller single-story building will significantly minimize the potential visual impacts on Waterview Drive. The proposed modified detailed development plans for said PD number 39 are shown on drawings entitled, quote, detailed development plans, proposed warehouse, lot number 21 and 20 and 21, Waterview Drive, Shelton, Connecticut, quote, prepared by Rose Tissot and Company, LLC, architects, surveyors, and engineers, dated revised August 20th, 2021. Also submitted was a copy of the Statement of Uses and Standards applicable to PDD number 39, as well as the Site Engineering Design Report dated July 21st, 2021, prepared by Stephen Santacroce, PE Civil Engineer. The Commission convened and completed a duly noticed public hearing on September 8th, 2021. During the presentation, the commissioners raised several questions related to site topography and point of access, grading impacts, building layout, on-site parking arrangements and other design, construction materials, and landscaping concerns. Mr. Cinto and his representatives represented at the public hearing that the proposed building will have a significantly less traffic impact on the area street system and less visual impact on the Rivendell condominiums than the originally approved 8-story building. It was noted that the natural topography of the site, combined with existing natural vegetation, will substantially screen the building from view. He confirmed that the proposed building will be constructed of split-face masonry block, portions of glass wall at the entry, and insulated metal wall panels. with windows on the 3 exposed walls and will be a quality building similar to other buildings on Waterview Drive. The proposed building and site treatment will be a quality consistent with the building he recently completed at 30 Waterview Drive. Approximately 9 letters and/or written comments, as well as a few telephone calls, were received at the Planning and Zoning Office and are on file and part of the public hearing record. At the hearing, 7 residents, some of whom had called or submitted letters, had further comments and/or questions. Many of those comments and concerns raised were the result of misinformation and misinterpretation of the proposal, believing it to be a zone change to accommodate an 80,000 square foot warehouse, generating high truck traffic at all hours of the day and suggesting other areas of the city where existing sites are already zoned and available. Other expressed concerns related to potential traffic added to the currently busy Constitution Boulevard South and other area roads. Other concerns related to the possibility of the city wanting to open Plaskin Drive to access from Constitution Boulevard South and the resulting traffic impact on the residential street. Concerns were also expressed relative to impacts on wildlife, additional traffic of both trucks and workers, road safety, negative impacts on property values, etc. The commission staff and the applicant and his representatives addressed all questions in detail. The commission is familiar with the site and its vicinity, has reviewed the subject, modified detailed development plans, is knowledgeable about the area, the site, and existing physical site constraints, and the history of the previous 8-story building approval, as well as how the site is now proposed to be developed. It has reviewed all materials submitted, as well as the testimony and comments recorded at the public hearing. The commission has discussed the proposal following the close of the public hearing, and based upon its review and discussion, offers the following comments and findings. Background comments and findings. Number 1. In 1985, more than 35 years ago, the Shelton Heights Industrial Subdivision was approved with the requirement to construct an arterial access road from Route 8 Expressway into the area to eventually connect with Route 110 River Road to provide access and utility services into the area. With that, the initial subdivision of 24 5-acre lots was approved and the area was changed to the LIP Light Industrial Park Zone. The majority of those 5+ acre lots and others in the Shelton Heights Industrial Park have been approved and developed for a variety of light manufacturing, office, and light industrial uses, including Pitney Bowes, Mercantile, Hubble, etc., which include warehousing and related storage. Number 2, the sole residential development within the industrial office manufacturing area is the Rivendell condominiums on the opposite side of Waterview Drive from PDD number 39. It was approved in 1995 with the full knowledge that they were being allowed on a parcel in an industrial park and should expect to see industrial development as its neighbors. In 2001, more than 20 years ago, PDD number 39 was adopted and fully approved, including the necessary State Traffic Commission certificate of approval to allow an 8-story, 231,000 square foot office building with other ancillary uses and support parking for some 700 vehicles. But for a variety of reasons, the proposal was never constructed. It is now proposed to scale back the development to a single-story, 80,000 square foot building with support parking for up to 236 cars to serve the needs of a single tenant for office, research and development, manufacturing, assembly, and supportive warehousing, consistent with other facilities on Waterview Drive. Less than 1/3 of the building floor area is allocated to warehousing, and the balance for offices, research, and product assembly. It is inappropriate to characterize the current proposal as a warehouse facility, and the development plans should be more appropriately titled. Number 4, the subject site contains approximately 11.2 acres and is roughly rectangular in shape with approximately 1,350 feet of frontage along the west side of Waterview Drive has an average depth of about 580 feet, and is currently vacant. There is municipal sanitary sewer service and public water supply at the site. The site is characterized by steep to moderate topography, sloping up from Constitution Boulevard South to the northerly property line. The buildable portion is situated on an elevation some 55 feet higher than the Waterview Drive pavement at the southerly Rivendell entry drive, and some 30 feet higher than the northerly entry. There are no delineated inland wetlands areas on the site. Site access is provided at the northerly portion of the site as proposed for the original development. The commission notes the site entry cannot be moved to the Constitution Boulevard South frontage due to severe topography in that area that would necessitate an access drive with very steep grades in excess of 17% and totally destroying the natural features of the site. Number 5, the site is bordered on the north by a parking area serving the adjacent Pitney Bowes facility on Waterview Drive, and on the west by vacant land. Subject site is currently zoned PDD number 39. Number 6, the state traffic certificate approved by the State Traffic Commission for the previously authorized 231,000 square foot, 8-story office building with 700 plus parking has been represented as still valid by virtue of the extreme reduction in intensity and parking provided in the subject proposal. However, it may be necessary for the applicant to submit evidence or other confirmation from the state for concurrence prior to issuance of building permits. In addition, any future roadway modifications and improvements are a city responsibility and would be addressed by the Department of Highway and Bridges, together with the engineering department and the office of the mayor. As of now, there are no plans or proposals to remove the barriers, barricades, and open the end of Plaskin Drive extension to create a 4-way intersection with Constitution Boulevard South. 7, the sloping site topography will require significant site preparation, excavation, and grading activities. The applicant has revealed that preliminary soils testing indicates that the proposed finished floor elevation of 185 should avoid any significant rock removal. However, if blasting is necessary, all required blasting will be conducted in conformity with rules and regulations of the state and the city fire marshal's office, and must be sensitive to the limitations imposed by residences some 400 feet away, as well as other nearby buildings, including bonding and insurance requirements. Number 6, 8. The stormwater drainage system proposed will include water quality provisions as well as on-site detention facilities prior to discharge into the Waterview Drive drainage system. The drainage system will satisfy the requirements of the city's Stormwater Management Ordinance 58. The fire marshal has reviewed and reported approval by letter of 9/10/21 to the commission regarding fire lane requirements, hydrant locations, etc. City engineer has also reviewed and reported favorably on the acceptability of the stormwater management plan and final engineering design details, subject to resolving the concerns set forth in his letter of 9/16/21. The proposal will connect to the existing sanitary sewer in Waterview Drive. Evidence of final review and approval by the Water Pollution Control Authority must be provided prior to final sign-off by the commission. Excuse me for just a second. Number 9, final modified detailed site development plans need further attention to the following additional conditions. A, in view of the excess parking capacity provided beyond immediate and near future needs, additional spaces can and should be deferred. It is recommended that the parking area adjacent to the south wall of the building be reconfigured to allow more landscaped space adjacent to the building wall to better convey the currently exposed foundation wall. B, the dumpsters in the service area should be appropriately enclosed and gated. C, the landscape plan should be revised to incorporate evergreen screening along the southerly edge of the pavement opposite the loading area. D, the selected plant materials should be re-examined. The proposed butterfly bush is an invasive species that should be replaced with rhododendron or other more appropriate species. The proposed steep slope planting treatment should be supplemented with spreading junipers and other appropriate materials. Since the adequacy of the natural vegetation for screening purposes during the winter season is unknown at this time, and filling with additional evergreen screen planting may be necessary. E, there is no indication of signage at this time. All proposed signage shall be submitted for commission approval prior to installation. 10, there appears to be considerable demand for light industrial / warehouse space throughout the region. The commission and staff continue to work with landowners to adapt existing space as appropriate. The subject proposal will bring new employment opportunities to the city, adding to the tax base and helping preserve the favorable and stable property taxes for all homeowners. After completion of its discussions, if it is the consensus of the commission that it is prepared to act, staff has prepared a favorable resolution for their consideration and action. Accordingly, the following resolution is offered. On the basis of the findings and concerns noted above, the various representations made at the public hearing, and other discussions of the commission, the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission hereby takes the following actions. To approve the modified detailed development plans subject to the following stipulations, modifications, and conditions. 1, satisfaction of the concerns and requirements set forth in the findings above. Final detailed development plans shall address all concerns noted to the satisfaction of the commission and its staff. 2, unless otherwise authorized by the commission, no permits for building construction shall be issued prior to sign off on final detailed development plans. Said final plans shall be submitted for commission endorsement within a period of 90 days from the adoption date of the subject resolution. The commission, for good cause shown, may extend said time limit. 3, final modified detailed development plans must satisfy all applicable concerns of the city engineer, fire marshal, local traffic authority, and all other municipal boards and commissions, as well as all permit requirements of the Water Pollution Control Authority, and, if required, the State Department of Transportation. Evidence of all required approvals of other municipal and state agencies will be obtained prior to final commission sign-off. 4, in addition to any bonding that may be required due to blasting activity, a site restoration and or completion bond shall be posted covering 100% of any work undertaken within any public right-of-way, and in such additional amount as determined by the commission, installation and maintenance of sediment and erosion controls, as well as completion of critical site improvements and final landscaping. Erosion control measures must be in place prior to site clearance and removal of site vegetation. All other required bonding must be posted prior to the issuance of any permits. Are there any questions before we move forward? Okay, hearing none, is there any commissioner that would like to make a motion to approve the resolution for application 21-20?
I'll make that resolution.
You make the motion for approval, Commissioner Kelly?
Yes,
Okay,
Yep.
motion to approve from Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Commissioner Laskos.
Okay, Commissioner Laskos has seconded it. So on the motion to approve the resolution for application 21-20 made by Commissioner Kelly and seconded by Commissioner Laskos, Chair will do a roll call vote. Commissioner Ticky,
aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Commissioner Ucell, I believe from looking at my chart that you were not eligible to vote on this particular application.
I fully acquainted myself with the materials, but
Okay, if you want to go on the
Yeah, my-
record that you are knowledgeable about all the facts that were presented during the public hearings, I will ask you for your vote.
aye.
Okay, and Commissioner Usel has voted in the affirmative. So the resolution has passed by a vote of 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Doe, and good luck with the project.
Thank you very much. Have a very nice night.
You have a good evening as well. Okay, next on the agenda, we have two public hearings. In the case of application 20-22, the public hearing is a continuation. In the case of application 2118, the public hearing is being opened. After application 20-22 is recognized, the applicant can present any new information. After application 21-18 is recognized, the applicant will present its entire proposal to the commission. In both instances, if the commission or the public have any questions of the applicant, they'll have the opportunity to ask those, and the applicant will have the opportunity to respond after all information has been presented. And if there are no other comments, questions, or concerns from the commission, and if no other information is needed by the commission, the public hearing will be closed for each, and the application will be on the agenda of an upcoming meeting for discussion. Members of the public who are listening tonight, and if you do decide to address the commission during either public hearings, you need to be mindful of the following. After you are identified by Mr. Rossetti at the appropriate time in the each public hearing, please state and spell your name and state your address to assist the recording secretary and stenographer when doing the minutes and the transcript of the public hearing. All comments and questions are to be directed to the chair and the chair only, not to the applicant and or his associates. No dialogue is permitted between the public and the applicant or any of the applicant's associates. All comments from the public should address specific criteria of the zoning regs and the merits of the application. All comments from the public should be new information and not be a repeat of comments previously presented. Unless a member of the public has new comments to or questions of the chair, members of the public who wish to address the commission are asked to briefly indicate whether or not they are in agreement with previous speaker and not repeat the same testimony. Members of the public are expected to practice appropriate etiquette by being quiet, observant, and respectful. Disruptive attendees may be removed from verbally participating. After all members of the public who participate today finish addressing the commission, the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to public comments or questions. After the applicant and their associates have concluded the presentation, they've answered all questions and they've addressed all concerns from the commission and or public. And if no further information is needed by the commission, the chair will ask for a motion to close the public hearing. If the commission feels further information is needed, the chair will ask for a motion to keep the public hearing open. If the public hearing closes, the chair will poll the commission for consensus on whether or not there is any reason not to vote on the application. And as a reminder to the commission, once a public hearing has opened and until it is closed, commissioners are not permitted to make any public comment, discuss any part of the applicant's presentation, or receive additional information from anyone. So we will begin with continuation of application 20-22 Riverview Park Royal, Dominic Thomas for Canal Properties LLC at 113-123 Canal Street, Assessors Map 130, lots 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Petition for a special exception on 2.57 acres in the Riverfront RFD zone, Riverfront District RFD zone. This proposal is for a 5-story mixed-use building with 11,000 square feet of retail commercial space on the first floor and 92 studio, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments with on-site parking. The plans are titled Park Royal were prepared by J. Edwards and Associates, Engineers, and Getz Associates, Inc., Architects. The public hearing for this application opened on July 21st. 2021, it was continued to August 17th, 2021. The August 17th meeting, Attorney Thomas requested that the public hearing be left open to receive comments from the Inland Wetlands Commission, which was scheduled to meet on September 9th. The applicant further commented on the proposal, and the commission voted to continue the public hearing. Chair would like to know for the record that since the August 17th meeting, additional documents were posted to the city's website, including revised plans for the lower garage door floor and floors 1st through 5th, dated August 31st, comments from the city engineer dated September 16th, 2021, and an artist rendering of the rear building elevation. Mr. Rossetti, have any comments been received from the fire marshal?
Not at this time.
No, okay. Mr. Rossetti, are there any further comments from the public that were submitted to the office that we need to acknowledge?
No.
Okay. Next question before I turn it over to the applicant. Mr. Rossetti, has the applicant filed a statement of uses and standards?
This is a special exception application.
Yes. I filed a statement of use, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
It's a special exception application. It's not a PDD. So
Right.
there's no statement of uses and standards.
Okay.
The standards are already set.
All right. Mr. Rossetti, maybe then you could address what I see under section 33, special exceptions. If we could clarify this first. Under section 33.2.1, it's a statement of use. There is a section underneath that, subsection B, that says any building construction and or expansion where the aggregate floor area of existing and proposed structures on a site exceeds 20,000 square feet is one of the 5 reasons why a statement of uses and standards should be submitted. So
That's just for a statement of use, not a statement of use and standards. The standards are set in the RFD regulations. The use is set for
Okay.
96 apartments with the retail below.
all right, so in case any of the commissioners were wondering, because we normally have a lot of documents that are posted to the website, and it occurred to you, how come we don't see that one? That is what the reason is, okay? So I wanted to clarify that. So, Mr. Thomas, I'll give you the floor, but my question that if you could answer, has Inland Wetlands commented on this proposal yet?
Oh, you should have received a letter that I submitted requesting, first of all, granting an extension of time to complete the public hearing
Mhm.
and to ask for an extension of the public hearing because they were scheduled to meet on September 9th.
Mhm.
I believe it was due to the illness of the chairman. They
Mhm.
did not have a quorum,
Right,
so they
okay,
were unable to meet.
All
I
right.
have not yet, I was away last week, but I have
Yep.
not received any email rescheduling the meeting as of yet. My
Mhm.
understanding before I left was more than likely, their lengthy agenda, they haven't met in, I believe, 4 months.
Mhm.
Their lengthy agenda was going to be at the October regular meeting, which was,
Mhm.
I believe, October 14th. In
Okay,
addition to that, the
Uh-huh.
city engineer's comments were mostly related to the wetlands issue. They were a combined letter. So in my letter of request, consenting to an extension and also asking for the continuance, I referenced the fact that we are in the process of attempting to set up a work session with the city engineer and the wetland staff to review all of those issues, and most of which, a lot of which relate to the Bering Ground Brook culvert issue.
okay. Mr. Rossetti, do you have that letter to be
Yes.
posted? Okay, all right. So that can be posted on the city's website. So Attorney Thomas, is it the applicant's preference that we just continue the public hearing, take a vote to continue it at this time?
Yes, I asked for I asked for October 20th, I believe, October 20th or 27th, obviously on this one would be, okay, either one, because all we're going to do is, at that point, is address the remaining issues that relate to the wetlands map.
Okay. All right, so just to make sure the commission understands, the applicant has submitted a letter requesting an extension of, and to take this matter up on the October 22nd agenda. Is there any commissioner that would like to make a motion to continue the public hearing to October 22nd?
Madam Chairman, October 20th.
20th, I'm sorry. Sorry, thank you.
Commissioner Ticky, I'm happy to motion for October 20th.
Okay, Commissioner Ticky has made the motion to keep the public hearing call and continue it to October 20th. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Charlie.
Give me a toss.
Okay.
Who wants it?
Charlie.
Anyway,
Is this a matter of this?
yeah, right.
Okay. All right, you know what? This time I'll give it to Commissioner Kelly. All right, so on the motion to continue public hearing until October 20th, made by Commissioner Ticky, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. Do a roll call, Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Usel.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion is passed 6-0 to continue the public hearing to October 20th. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the opening of the public hearing for application 2118. Commissioner Motto, would you please read the public hearing notice?
Sure. Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Shelton, Connecticut hereby gives notice of a public hearing to be held virtually on Wednesday, September 22nd at 6 o'clock via Zoom to consider the following. Initiation of application 21-18, Dominic Thomas for SEP Shelton LLC, AA Shelton LLC at 710 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 29, Lot 9, petitioning for a planned development district, PDD, from an office park district on an area of 36.4 acres and is generally bounded as follows: northerly by 708 Bridgeport Avenue, Split Rock, easterly by Connecticut Route 8, southerly by 7 Acadia Lane, The Mark, westerly by Bridgeport Avenue. The proposed development includes a 17,680 square foot light industrial flex space on a vacant rear parking lot and 2 restaurants in the front of the lot, one 8,000 square foot restaurant and the second a 4,000 square foot restaurant with a drive-through, both situated on an existing lower parking lot. The plans titled Initial Development Plans 710 Bridgeport Avenue, prepared by Rose Tizo and Company Architects, Civil 1 Surveyors for AA Shelton LLC and dated July 7th, 2021.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so the chair would like to just comment for the record that this application was accepted for review on August 10th. A public hearing was scheduled for today. The chair would like to note also that several documents for this application were posted to the city's website, including the PDD application, statement of uses and standards, site plans, and an engineering report. Mr. Rossetti, were there any comments from the public that we need to acknowledge for the record that were submitted to the P&Z office?
No.
Okay, thank you. Are there any reports from the city engineer and the fire marshal to acknowledge?
There are not.
Okay. Who is representing the applicant? Is that Attorney Thomas?
Yes, Attorney Dominic Thomas, Cohen and Thomas, 315 Main Street, Derby, Connecticut, representing the applicant.
Okay, please proceed.
This is, we also have to present tonight Patrick Rose from Rose Tizo and Dave Sullivan from SLR. And I'll begin by giving you a little background on the property. I'm sure you're aware of it. As stated, it's a 36.4 acre parcel of land, the development of which goes back into the early 1970s, late 60s, when it was developed for then the Phillips Medical Complex. Currently, there sits a approximately 500,000 square foot multi-level building, which primarily houses PerkinElmer. You also had this property before you on a application for a site plan for a new tenant. And I would note that at that time it was recognized and realized that some of the uses that have existed on this property since the late 60s and early 70s were made pre-existing legal non-conforming uses when it was zoned OPD, Office Park District, especially citing the warehouse and some of the manufacturing, but the warehousing. The primary occupant right now is PerkinElmer. And as you may recall from a prior application on this property, there are substantial areas of parking on the site that are not used. The purpose of this PDD, after much research, the clients have felt that there's a market for the two uses that they are proposing. So the statement of uses and standards that has been proposed incorporates all the uses on the property, including the proposed uses of a sit-down restaurant and a restaurant with drive-through, but also includes the business and professional offices, research laboratories, light manufacturing, regular manufacturing, and warehousing and distribution, which are the uses that are on the site right now. The property, certain areas of the property, like I said before, and the parking areas have not been used. I will note for the record, because I know Madam Chairman mentioned what was presented, but what also has been filed, the certificates of mailing, the notices, the photographs of the posting, and the radius map were filed, as was a traffic report from SLR, which was filed, and as was a letter today in reference to the letters from the public. A letter today from Shelton Properties, who are the mark, was also, which was sent to me, actually was addressed to the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, but it was sent to me electronically, and I forwarded it on to your planning and zoning staff, expressing support. So you should have that for the record, and later on I can either read it into the record or your staff can read it into the record supporting the proposal. I did communicate with your staff that I would be asking, pursuant to our ongoing conversations with PerkinElmer, that this, after our presentation, that this public hearing be kept open to the October 20th date, so we can conclude it. At that point, we hopefully will have some reports from your city engineer, which we don't have at this point. Originally, we were informed that the hearing was going to be on the 29th, but it was moved to today, 22nd. We haven't gotten any reports and in from your staff, and I'm sure you're going to want time to digest further, at least the traffic report, which we submitted recently, but Dave Sullivan is here to talk about it. We believe these uses are fully complementary to the existing uses on the site. It does clear up some issues with respect to the pre-existing nonconformities of the under the Office Park District. As you can see, for instance, the restaurants will be of great service to the individuals, the numerous individuals that work on the site. But in addition to that, as you can see from the Shelton Properties letter, they also appreciate and think it's very complementary to their residential use. The Flex building, which is Flex Officer Light Industrial, which is proposed, is hoped that it will be successful by acquiring a tenant that has a potential industrial or work relationship with the existing major tenants on the site. So I'm able to, I think, screen share. Hopefully I will be able to screen share. And I would, at this point, want to turn it over to Pat Rose to review the proposed site plan and the changes. And I would ask Pat, do you want the colored one up or the full set?
The color one to start with, at least.
Okay.
Attorney Thomas, as you're doing that, can I just ask you to clarify something? It's unusual that we would have an application for a project where we have two distinct different types of uses. And I was just wondering why this had not been split so that the restaurants in the front could be heard as a separate application from the proposed industrial building in the back.
Because the amount of, it would be completely economically unfeasible to do that. They have to be approved together. If they're not approved together, if you look at the site plan, as it's pointed out, it requires a substantial amount of site work, including the construction of a very large parking platform that Pat Rose will be able to go over with charging stations and everything. So it's required a substantial amount of work to relocate the parking up there in order to get the uses on the bottom. If it were just, for example, the Flex building, this application would not be before you. It would be economically unfeasible. You wouldn't be able to pay for the site work. In other words, is what I'm trying to say to you clearly.
Okay.
Wouldn't be able to pay for it.
All right. So go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
I just wanted to ask Attorney Thomas, is there an applicant for the restaurants also? Is there one involved right now?
There's no, at this point, we're going in for the initial concept plan approval for the zone change. So the clients have contacts with restaurants, but as is normal in this day and age, and really has been for a while, that they will be revealed, once they line things up. They want to know that the zone has been changed before they.
So right now, they're not rented. Am I correct?
Yeah, no, they're not rented. At the final site development plans, that's when you will see the tenant.
Okay.
So there's a chance that the whole project could be denied based on how the commission feels. The applicant understands that.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't, from a planning perspective, I think that I don't think there's any basis to do that, but certainly, yes, you can deny any application presented before the commission can be denied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Commissioner, just one other question for Attorney Thomas.
Mhm.
If there is no restaurant at all later on in the future, is there an alternative plan, maybe a strip mall or something down there that is feasible?
Well, there's no, at this point, the clients are confident enough with this proposal to proceed forward. Obviously, a great deal of money has been spent to develop the plans at this point. If perchance, I understand what you're saying, no restaurants wanted to go in, then you wouldn't see final site development plans. So they wouldn't go forward. So they would have to, and according to your zoning, then, if there was a change in use from that, they would have to come back before you with another application.
Okay, I'm just thinking of the multiple amount of restaurants within the, within Bridgeport.
Vicinity?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot, but they're all, they've been pretty successful. Now, even coming out of COVID, most of the restaurants have done pretty well. Those that didn't have sufficient financial backing have done well, but we don't have crystal balls as to look into the future. But these clients are very savvy investors, and they have done a lot of research as to what type of restaurant. The other thing that you've got to remember with respect to Bridgeport Avenue has, besides people coming from other areas to do the restaurants, for example, Rob Cinto has just left. We just made reservations next week at Opalio, and so people still come to the restaurants. When I drive by Bridgeport Avenue, they're kind of filled, but you have to remember, this is being located on a site where there are several hundred workers, adjacent to a site where there are several hundred people living in apartments.
I know that, but it's adjacent to a site where there's several restaurants too. I'm
Right,
just thinking of
exactly.
the saturation point of Bridgeport Avenue.
The saturation, if there is a saturation point, then you won't see site plans. And
Okay.
that's
One
what
of the
happens.
things that has always come before us is that when a new area is being developed, and a bank wants to go in on a corner, well, it seems like not too long after that, a competing bank files an application. When there is a drugstore, Walgreens went in and Split Rock, and CVS wanted to actually go on the property where Tetley Tea used to be, and that was discouraged. So they went up the street a couple of years later, which was just last year or so. So it's not for us to sort of, I think, while there are concerns about what types of tenants are there, it is up to the applicant to decide whether or not it's economically feasible for them to pursue having a development like this. That's
As you have often heard me say, when people challenge the fact that a developer is only before you to make money, my response is always absolutely they are.
Yeah.
And so they have developers do that. The advantage to some extent, I don't mean to, because I think the PDD is one of the most successful vehicles, but in this situation, they have done their homework. They're prepared to go forward. Once the zone change is in place, if there were to be a structural change in the business models and everything like that, then they wouldn't come before you with the final site development plans. They wouldn't go to that level. But I think Bridgeport Avenue supports a tremendous amount. I mean, the entire city of Shelton does. My response to the question of when are there too many apartments is when they stop renting them. And as you are aware, I'm sure you are aware, many of the apartment proposals you've proposed are rented before they're built. So right at the present time, my clients have confidence that the restaurant, especially in this location, especially with the number of people working right in the property, is a very successful. But they've chosen to combine it with the flex building, which potentially could create, bring in a company that has a relationship to the companies that are in the 500,000 square foot building.
okay. All
Can I
right.
ask,
Go ahead,
about,
Commissioner Mata.
the industrial part of it, they have tenants lined up for that, or they are the tenants? That part is,
The 17,000 square feet?
the big,
No, they don't have
don't
tenants for
have-
that right now. They don't have tenants for that right now.
Okay.
so they don't have tenants for any of this. This is really,
Right.
Yeah.
With the restaurants, they have been in discussions with people.
right.
You know what I
okay.
mean? Yes. I don't want to, but we're not coming before you with tenants for the 3 buildings that are being proposed.
Right.
And is there an order in which this will be built? What I'm getting at is this really a proposal for restaurants and not, I don't know. How are they gonna build this out? And just one other
they
little
will-
comment, I went to the new Little Barn restaurant last night, Tuesday night, packed. It was packed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I second that simply because I quote, and what I will tell you, the former chairman, Alan Cribbins, when 2 commissioners who should remain nameless, who are no longer on the Planning and Zoning Commission, stood up in 2006 and insisted that we shouldn't have Chili's or Longhorn because we have too many restaurants in 2006. That was
I
their
believe it
comment.
was 2 restaurants and a bank.
2 restaurants and a bank, and there were too many restaurants in town. So I always like to point out when somebody challenges something and they're dead wrong, and they were dead wrong.
Mm. Okay, unless there's some other questions by the commission, can we have Mr. Rose present?
Is the plan up on the screen?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Pat Rose from Rose Tizo and Company, architect from 35 Brentwood Avenue in Fairfield, architect for the project. What we have before you tonight is the existing 500,000 square foot existing commercial building with PerkinElmer and the warehouse tenant, proposed warehouse tenant that's going in. To look at the parking when we did this and when we started looking at it again is that the PerkinElmer requires 575 parking spaces based on their lease. So that was one of our starting points as to how many parking spaces they needed. And also, since we had a new tenant that came before you previously, we looked at that and they required some 211 parking spaces. So those are the beginnings of what we did. What we found is that PerkinElmer would prefer not to park in that lower parking lot if they didn't have to. They currently have to. So what we decided to do is look at proposing a new parking lot off of the circle for PerkinElmer adjacent to their building. It's a new parking lot for 148 spaces. And we also augment the parking in the driveway going up to the circle, adding some spaces there also. So what we're able to do is between that 148 car parking space, the 42 car parking space by the entrance, and then we have 328 spaces in that upper lot on the side of the building, side of PerkinElmer. And we added another 57 parking spaces adjacent to the light industrial flex building in an area that's underutilized, completely underutilized on the site. So we've been able to come up with the 575 parking spaces for PerkinElmer. In the blue are the parking spaces associated with Gary Plastics for that 211 spaces. We've got 171 in the lower parking lot. You've got 29 along their loading docks, and then another 26 in the corner of the building. So we actually end up with 226 spaces for them. We have actually more than they require. In moving this parking around, that allowed us to be able to consider putting in restaurants along Bridgeport Avenue where they should be, visible from Bridgeport Avenue. So we've come up with a 8,000 square foot sit down restaurant with 80 parking spaces and a 4,000 square foot restaurant with a drive-through that has 40 spaces. And those are all delineated in color on here, just so you can see how the parking all works out. The proposed light industrial flex building up on top has 30 spaces. Don't touch the color, Dominic.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Sorry. Has 30 spaces up on top associated with that 17,000 square feet, and also has the loading dock associated with it. Some other things that we're doing on the site is we are adding a sidewalk along the entrance drive that comes down around the 328 spaces, crosses the driveway, and then comes down the rest of the way of the driveway, all the way down, brings you all the way down to those restaurants, brings you all the way down actually to Bridgeport Avenue, where there is a pedestrian crossing. There's actually a pedestrian buttons sitting there that I don't know that anybody even knows they're there. They're sitting there and could be utilized.
What's sitting there again?
Pedestrian buttons to cross the street. There's a signalized intersection there on Bridgeport Avenue. There are pedestrian buttons on to 2 corners of that intersection that you could cross the street.
You
So
mean
there's a phase. built
On
in
a
already.
pole to hit the walk and,
Yeah, it's just a little bollard, stanchion bollard to
okay,
push. So they're actually there. I've seen them.
right, but the walk, no.
Walk, we would add the
walk.
walk to bring people down
Yeah.
to Bridgeport Avenue from either Perk and Elmer, the restaurants, the light industrial. They can get there. They can circulate all the way around the whole place on sidewalks. So
Mhm.
that you come down from Perk and Elmer, you could go to the restaurants, you could walk over to the parking lot that brings you up to Gary Plastics. There's another parking lot, another sidewalk that brings you up to where
Mhm.
Gary Plastics is. So it's created a much more pedestrian friendly type of use.
But when you're talking about pedestrian buttons, you're talking about staying on this site, not crossing Bridgeport Avenue.
No, I'm talking about crossing Bridgeport Avenue. There
All
are-
right, so, but right now, there is not a pole that has that typical
No,
display.
there's not.
No, but so there is like the
There's not a-
electronics are there.
There's not something that says walk, don't walk,
Right,
flash, but there is a pedestrian button there. So there's a cycle for you to push that button and cross the street.
Commissioner Harder,
yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
Pat, is there going to be provisions for a sidewalk on Bridgeport Avenue? Say from there over to the Mark Restaurant entrance or whatever? I know we have it across the street. I didn't know if we're going to have one there also.
No, we're not proposing a sidewalk on the east side of Bridgeport Avenue associated with this.
So the only thing they can do is come down, hit the button and go across the street to CVS, basically.
Correct, because I believe that we've been working towards putting a sidewalk on the westerly side of Bridgeport
Right,
Avenue.
right.
Yes, we have. All right, I don't want to belabor this, but how did the people that hit this button know when they could cross? Is it looking at the traffic signal?
Yes, you have to look at the traffic. It's not a completed, I don't think anybody's ever used it. I don't even think they know
No.
it's there, but we would.
There's a
have to
light,
Finish it in
there's a
order to
traffic light there.
cross it.
Right, but they're usually on the opposite corner where you're going to cross to is the pole that has the display that has a picture of a person, the profile, and it tells you walk, don't walk. That unit has not been.
That has not
erected.
been installed.
Right, okay,
Only the buttons are there.
right, but the ability to do so, to operate that is there.
Yes, so it's
Okay.
certainly something that could be added to make it safer for people to cross.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that for the record. Go ahead.
Not a problem. So we've added these walks. We've also, at the request of Perk and Elmer, removed the stairs and the walkway down to the lower parking lot.
Hmm.
They've had
Mhm.
lots of problems maintaining it over a period of time. And
Mhm.
we're going to create another way for them to get there without having to go downstairs. So that's another item that's happening.
Okay,
Um,
so that parking area that's brown, right? Yeah, that one.
Yep.
People park in that lot. How do they get to, they have to walk down that sidewalk?
They go down the
Yeah.
sidewalk, go in the
A
entrance.
circle.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So I think we've been, adding these uses, but we've been able to get much more pedestrian use out of the site itself. It's a
Mhm.
large site, we've given people walkways where they can walk safely. Now, a lot of the people who work at Perk and Elmer walk around the parking lot, essentially.
Mhm.
As opposed to walking on sidewalks, they're walking on the street, which is not great.
Okay.
Dominic, if you want, could you go to drawing SP 1B in the main set?
Is this it? Can you see it?
Yep, that's it, yes. So this is just a little bit larger scale of the two restaurants, the 4,000 square foot with the drive-through, which has a double drive-through, so you got a bypass lane as possible. We also have a small patio outside potential area. Obviously, this is all contingent on, it's a use that we're proposing. It's contingent on an actual user. it may change to some degree, but it will stay within that footprint. Same thing for the 8,000 square foot restaurant. We have a dumpster in the loading area to the east of that. And then on the west side by Bridgeport Avenue, we would show a patio area, which is somewhat removed from Bridgeport Avenue. You've got probably 80 feet back from the street itself.
Mr. Rose, could you, for comparison and sake, how big are these buildings compared to the Outback that's right in the next section? Next.
Outback's probably 6,000 square feet.
Okay, that gives
I
us
guess.
some perspective.
Yeah.
All right.
Aruga, I think Aruga was 7,200 square feet.
Okay.
We're pretty close to that size, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Very good.
Right.
What else do you have for us?
And then if, Dominic, if you could go to SP2B.
Hold on, let me get back to the regular size.
Yep.
All right.
There you go. One of the things that we've done, been able to do with this is on these two restaurant sites, they have their own storm drainage detention system under the parking lot for both of the restaurants. They're serviced by water off of Bridgeport Avenue. We're not coming off of the existing Perkin-Elmer services. So they essentially, for the most part, stand by themselves as far as services into them. And if you go back one, Dominic, this is the light industrial building. It also has its own stormwater detention system at the northern side of the building. So it stands by itself. It does, though, use the water service from the Perkin-Elmer building because it's so far remote, from any other things. So we have to go ahead and use the existing services.
Okay, anything else on the layout of the buildings?
Nope, that's it. We can go to the buildings.
Okay, I do.
Okay, good. Okay.
Could you go back to the previous one that showed the 4,000 and 8,000 square foot building?
One forward then. Yep,
Whatever.
that's fine.
No, there's a better one without all those
Oh, you want the
lines.
1B?
Cleaner looking one.
1B, yep.
That one. Okay. Convince me why the access to the 8,000 square foot building should be from that main driveway that goes to the Perkin-Elmer and the proposed industrial site. I do not care, and it struck me just recently looking at this, there was something that was bothering me about it, and it was the fact that as you go up that driveway, you take a right, you're gonna, anybody that's going to the 4,000 square foot building has to pass through that driveway. Right to the right, we have that other driveway that goes past these two, past the huge parking lot, wraps around to the back of the building to the loading docks. Is it possible to take the 4,000 square foot building, shift it to the right, and not let anybody go in that little entrance from the main driveway, but to the driveway to the right, maybe halfway up where it says something like, I can't read it, some word there. That, the one that says 6 foot concrete sidewalk. Can that 4,000 square foot building be moved more to the right? And then you have a divide up where the driveway goes in and there's a parking lot would be to your left to go to the 8,000, and it would be somewhat in front of you and to the right for the 4,000.
So you're suggesting that we would enter the parking lot for those two restaurants off of the ring road to the left, as opposed to the ring road that the entrance road off of Bridgeport Avenue that has the light.
Yeah, that would segregate access to the restaurant from that ring road as to the right, from any industrial office access to the left.
I think the ring road to the right is the main way that people come in, like for instance, Gary Plastics.
Yeah,
This ring road to the right, this road here
yeah,
is going to be the main road for their traffic in and out for Gary Plastics. This road is a much wider road that services Split Rock. This is the main, really the main entrance to Split Rock. And it's substantially wide enough. And this is an existing roadway here.
I
It's an
know.
existing cut. Yeah.
There's no reason why the ring road to the right can't be widened. I think there's too much going in the existing
the-
road to the left.
The reason that we have done that is because it's a signalized intersection that is
Mhm.
controlled,
Yeah.
so that you have the ability to get in and out of that intersection, free flow from the lights, as opposed to having to come in and out associated with a stop sign intersection.
Yeah, I realize that people heading from the Fountain Square area and going down the hill could have an easy turn into the right. Whether or not there was a signal, it would be the persons coming up the hill from the intersection with Constitution, not Constitution, from Bridgeport
Commerce.
Avenue and Commerce. They'd be sitting there in the traffic lane trying to take a left-hand turn. It's not unlike people coming down the hill trying to take a left-hand turn into where the Plaza Diner is. So, but I just don't care for that traffic flow of people coming up the main driveway, taking a right, having to go through one whole parking lot, which is supposed to be, I would assume, dedicated to the 8,000 square foot building, to drive past through another section of a driveway parking lot to get to the bigger parking lot where they may have to end up parking. So that's why I thought splitting the difference would be a help. So maybe you could scrutinize this and just see if there's something else that could be done. But
I certainly can look at it. I mean, the reason that we come out to the light is because, I mean, most people are going to want to come out to a light that's
Mhm.
controlled.
I understand. That's why I said convince me. All right, what else do you have, Mr. Rose?
Any other questions on site layout at the moment, just so I'll jump over to the buildings that we've, put together.
Any commissioners have any comments, questions for Mr. Rose? Okay, hearing none, go ahead.
We could go to A101, Dominic. Just a few drawings.
Oh, Pat, did you want to touch upon the landscaping before we got to?
Yeah, I can do that. Go back to number 5. So what we've done landscaping wise is for the new parking lot for PerkinElmer, we've put a screen of trees along the edge to screen visibility to that plateau that you create for parking. And then what we've done associated with around the restaurants, we've put some screening along the parking lot edge between the ring road and the parking lot, done some more deciduous trees in front of that restaurant, so you'll be able to see underneath that canopy when you're driving on Bridgeport Avenue and still be able to see that there's restaurants there.
Mhm.
So it's not a screen, it's something that you look underneath.
What's the elevation that the light industrial flex space in the back is compared to the properties from Split Rock, which are the Brightview?
It's lower.
Whatever,
It's
how
lower
much
than
lower?
assisted living. Yeah, it's much lower than assisted living. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted the other commissioners to understand. If you're in that back parking lot and you're looking at the back of those buildings that were there,
And there's
you're looking
rock
up,
cut. There's a rock cut
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
right?
correct.
Mhm.
So
So
what
you all
we've
have
added-
besides the landscape, I mean, the evergreens or whatever you're proposing to plant, you have some kind of fencing, barricades, so people aren't walking off of a cliff? Or what's it like back there for the adjacent property owner?
He has fencing, I believe, on his side.
Okay,
Well, it's his side that you got to worry about.
yeah.
People walking off the cliff.
Commissioner,
Go ahead,
Roger.
Commissioner Kelly.
there's fencing, for benchmark all the way around.
Mhm.
So, being up there before with the condominium or the apartments that were proposed before,
Mhm.
this is a much better idea.
Yeah, I have no problem with the industrial building that's
Yeah.
proposed. It's just, I want to make sure that other commissioners that may not have been up in that rear lot lately, that you are looking up to other two buildings.
So what we've also done on this large parking lot for Perk and Elmer, we've created landscape islands along that edge. Right now, it's not a very well-defined roadway. It's striped for the most part on the parking lot side. We try to define that more so that people stay in the lane and don't go towards the parked cars.
Where are you indicating? Where is that on the map that you just?
The large 328 on the left-hand side of Perk and Elmer. There
Oh,
are
yeah.
landscape islands.
Mhm. Okay,
Landscape islands, delineating this road better.
yes,
It's
yes,
not very well delineated.
right. Yeah,
And
it's
then
wide
we're
open.
also adding landscaping in this area between the parking lots. So we've got some green space and then creating some more landscaping in that area
Mhm.
to segregate the light industrial from that other parking lot.
Mhm.
So that's for the most part what we've done landscape wise. Dominic, you want to go to A101?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So this is the 4,000 square foot restaurant with a drive-through. Both of these restaurants are fairly generic in what we've shown because we don't have a tenant yet, obviously. Showing a seating area, a kitchen, a drive-through area, and a potential patio with some bathrooms. So that essentially is how it's going to get laid out, but detail-wise, it will be defined by a tenant, I'm sure, as to what we're going to be doing.
What's the stacking space that you have around the back of the building allow for?
Probably 10 cars you could stack back there. So it's fairly substantial, goes all the way around the building.
Yeah, I see that on SP0 sheet.
Yeah. It's 100, the building's 100 foot long. So
Mhm.
you can be able to stack 10 cars around both three sides of it.
Well, no matter how, if you have a space, if you have a very popular tenant, seems like there's never enough space.
I know.
So, okay, what's next?
Next one, Dominic, is 102 is the 8,000 square foot restaurant. Again, this is relatively generic. We've got windows and glass facing Bridgeport Avenue in the parking lot, entrance off of the parking lot, seating area, kitchen, and then a patio off of the dining area.
Mhm.
So, that obviously is going to change with a tenant.
Okay, and that's what I was just gonna say. If you have a prospective tenant and they look and they say, well, we don't want the patio over there, we'd like it over
Yeah.
there, and that kind of,
Right.
that's what you would have to
It's a
back.
placeholder right now.
Yes.
It's essentially a placeholder.
That's exactly what we need to hear. This is just a concept.
Yep, correct. For the use, we're just going for the use. And next drawing are our elevations of the buildings, which we've done enough of these. We know what elements will be in it, possibly, depending
Mhm.
on what tenant it is. We've shown stone veneer at the bottom of the building, ephes or stucco panels as it goes around. And then at the entrance, we've used a vertical wood siding to emphasize where the entrances are or emphasize where the sign band is.
Mhm.
Then we have a canopy over the entrance or over the walkway
Mhm.
towards that, and a pergola, showing a pergola over the patio.
Mhm.
Fairly straightforward, typical building that could be anything. Next one, Dominic, 102. And this one is the 8,000 square foot restaurant where we have the accent wood facing Bridgeport Avenue leading off of the patio. And then left side, which actually faces the driveway as you drive in. And then in 203, you have the right side elevation is the entrance off the parking lot with the patio on the left-hand side. And the rear elevation is where the kitchen is essentially and the loading spaces. And then AI 101 is the light industrial building of 17,680 square feet. We have one loading space on the easterly side of the building. We have an entrance for the building on the southerly side. I guess that's the southerly side of the building facing the parking lot. And then exit door out onto the driveway that wraps around. So a truck is going to come in, back into the loading space, and then go around and back out to the ring.
The loading dock side is the Route 8 side.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the next drawing is just elevation. This is a fairly typical light industrial building. Split face concrete block on the lower section, up to 8 feet or so. And then we've got insulated metal panels above that, up to the total height.
Madam Chairman,
Go ahead,
I'm sorry?
Commissioner Kelly.
Mr. Rose, what is the height of the building? Do you know? I can't read it up there.
Yeah, I can't read it either. 30, I think it's 36 feet, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
3511, 36 feet.
3511.
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
What is that compared to the Perkinammer building? Like on the other side of the parking lot?
It's about the same height,
Okay.
approximately the same height.
Mm-hmm.
And that's similar height that with the couple buildings we've done on Waterview Drive, similar height. People are looking to get 30 feet underneath the steel in order for storage and manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What else you have for us, Mr. Rose?
That's pretty much it of what we're proposing.
Okay, Attorney Thomas, we going on to the traffic report?
Yes, we have a brief presentation from Dave Sullivan.
Hello, Mr. Sullivan.
Good
Dave,
evening.
do you want me to bring up if there's anything you want in the traffic report, let me know.
Yeah, I don't think so at this point, Dominic. So if we do, I'll ask you.
Okay, then I'll
David,
stop the share. Okay.
Okay, David Sullivan, I'm with SLR. My office is in New Haven on Church Street. And I manage the traffic and transportation planning group for SLR. I'll give you a brief summary of the report, our findings and recommendations.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
could you just clarify something when you've appeared before us before? Wasn't the name of SLR different? Is there some kind of, could you just explain that so that there's a little confusion?
Sure. We were Mylona McBroom. It's been almost 2 years now. And before I started tonight, I was thinking, have I been in front of you since we've been SLR? And should I use the SLR, formerly Mylona McBroom line? I guess I should have. So I'm Dave Sullivan from SLR, formerly Mylona McBroom.
Does SLR stand for anything?
Not that I know of. I know it's three people's name, and
Okay.
the company was founded in UK. So, and we asked the question, and I don't know that anybody knows, tell you the truth. But
That's fine.
Anyway, the traffic study was a traditional traffic study. We've looked at the site before. We looked at a number of sites in this area. So we evaluate the existing conditions, which I'll go through in some detail in a minute. And future conditions, looking at what the future might hold for traffic in the area with and without the the traffic from this site expansion or from the expanded uses on this site. And then we add those to the base traffic volumes. We do an analysis of with and without the new site traffic and come up with an estimate of what the impact is and if there's any mitigation that we would recommend for the study. So our study area was on Bridgeport Avenue from Old Stratford Road to Parrot Drive, including obviously the main driveway for the existing Perkin-Elmer and Split Rock, and additionally the other Split Rock driveway onto Old Stratford Road. So we looked at those. Now, because of COVID, it's a little bit tricky these days to be a traffic engineer. So we have worked quite closely with the DOT, particularly on the state highways. And in this particular case, we looked at a series of different traffic volume sources. One of those sources came directly from DOT Bureau of Policy and Planning, and that was for the Shelter Ridge study that they were reviewing at the time. That had some projected traffic volumes. We also had some 2019 traffic volumes that we took in the area for some earlier studies we did. And we also looked at some new counts, specifically to see what was happening, because CVS was not in back when we did the 2019 counts. So we took all of those counts and we kind of mashed them together, worked with the Bureau of Policy and Planning, explained how we put them together. We provided that information to them, and ultimately our base traffic volumes have been approved by ConnDOT's Bureau of Policy and Planning. So that's a step we typically might not take until we got into OSTA, but we took it in this particular case because of the complications of COVID affecting traffic volumes.
Mr. Sullivan, were the new counts, was any of that determined by putting the strips across the road and doing the clicking? Or?
We did not put any strips across the road. We did do manual counts, which is the folks sitting in their car with clickers, or mounting cameras on poles where you wouldn't see anybody unless you saw them putting the cameras up or down.
Okay.
Anyway, that was our base traffic volumes. And then we looked at what the traffic that would be generated here. So we used the ITE information, light industrial, 17,000, I believe it's 860 feet or 680 feet. A quality restaurant, 8,000 square feet, and a fast food restaurant at 4,000 square feet. And then we looked the information up for the morning peak hour, typically between 7 and 9, the commuter peak hour, 1 hour in that period, 1 hour between 4 and 6, the afternoon commuter peak hour, and we looked at Saturday peak hour, which is typically midday. And the range of trips were in the morning for all three uses combined. After you adjust for people that are passing by, it's really only the fast food restaurant where we may get a small amount of people that are already on the road and do a pass-by trip, meaning they are not making a special trip. But it's 148 trips in the morning, 177 in the afternoon, and 268 on Saturday. As you can imagine, the vast majority of those trips are from the restaurant, and particularly the fast food restaurant, even though it's the smallest. So we then added those to the base traffic volumes I described before. We did a series of analyses and looked at the impacts. What we found, which is, you may remember, it's very similar to past recommendations, that the intersection of Old Stratford Road and Bridgeport Avenue, we had some recommendations to adjust the timing there. We've had that for quite a while, and none of the projects have come to fruition to get that implemented. But that we think should be done under background conditions. And but if we were to make those comparing the combined in the background, we'd actually be improving levels of service a little bit and removing any of the level of service Fs at that intersection that exists. At other
Mr. Sullivan,
intersections,
you said that's Old Stratford Road and Bridgeport Avenue?
yes,
Okay.
the large signalized intersection. At other intersections, again, Parrot Drive signal will be new. It's not up yet, but we have some recommendations for that timing, which is very similar to the timing that was approved for Fountain Square. Some slight modifications there, and then no impacts to level of service at the other analysis intersection. So in general, we think the traffic can be handled. It's a small amount of traffic compared to the amount of traffic in this area to start with. And we think the most important recommendation is to really improve the efficiency at the intersection of Old Stratford Road and Bridgeport Avenue with some timing modifications. And lastly, this will go to the Office of State Traffic Administration for a modification to the existing certificate that exists there today. So that's my presentation.
Okay, any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Sullivan? No, okay. Mr. Sullivan, just go back, do me a favor. You said the traffic counts had to do with the 4,000 square fast food, the 8,000 quality restaurant, and what was the third?
The light industrial building, 17,000, I believe 860 square feet.
Okay. And you had mentioned that, did I understand you to say something to the effect of people going to the fast food, a lot of them are already going to be on the road?
Not a lot, a small portion of them. So fast food restaurant, you have people, shouldn't say most, depending on the particular fast food user, you can get a certain amount of people that are picking up food on their way to work or things like that. DOT only allows us to take 20% of those trips as pass by. And all that means is their traffic turns in and out. But for instance, at Parrot Drive, it wouldn't be new traffic because they would already be driving by Parrot Drive, for example. And so we took a small credit for that. For instance, let me just give you a specific. So we have in the morning, we have 16, we have a total of 148 trips in and out. And we're saying 16 people are already on Bridgeport Avenue out of those 150 trips that are on their way to work, more than likely, and would pull in there, get some food, and then continue on their way.
So the feeling is that there would be a regular occasion where people would specifically get in their cars, leave their homes, or leave their place of business to go to a fast food place if it was located on this site.
Yes, yes. And realistically, it's probably in the area of half the people that go to that fast food, but the state only lets us take 20% of them. And they make us say that 80% are new people. And those would be, for example, somebody going, on their lunch break, they go get the food and then they return to work. That's a new trip.
Okay. Any comments, questions, or concerns for Mr. Sullivan? Okay. Attorney Thomas, what else do we have?
I have, my house phone just rang, so I don't want to, I did mute myself. I didn't want to disrupt. No, I really, at this point, have nothing else to present. We will be presenting at the continuation. I do want to, for the record, if you want me, I can read in the Shelton Properties LLC letter but it's addressed to you, not to me. I did send it electronically, or you can address it and put it on, put it on for the next public hearing and accept it. It was a letter in favor, in support of this proposal.
Mr. Rossetti, did you obtain that letter and forward it to me by any chance already?
It was just today that I got it.
No, okay, all right. Attorney Thomas, I give you full
Well, then I will just wait till the
permission to
next.
go. You want it?
No,
wanna wait?
we'll just wait till the
Okay.
next meeting till it's on the website and everything.
All right, how about anything else? Because I'm just gonna ask for the public next.
We have nothing else to present at this time. We hope to have staff reports before the next meeting so we can address them. if there
Okay,
are any.
all right, Mr. Rossetti, is there anybody that from the public that wishes to address the commission on these proposals?
I see a few attendees. If those attendees, I see Jana, Mike DeVito, and Nick. I don't want to mess up your last name. If you guys.
Delolio,
Delolio, if you'd like to comment, please raise your hand via Zoom.
oh, we got a hand raised. Okay, it's Mr. DeVito.
Yes, thank you. It's Michael DeVito, D-I capital V-I-T-O from PerkinElmer. And as Dominic mentioned, that, I'd just like to go on the record. PerkinElmer is not on board yet with the plan. We have a number of concerns that need to be addressed, and we expect to work those out before the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. DeVito. What is your position there at PerkinElmer?
I'm sorry, I'm the site leader of PerkinElmer.
Okay, very good. All right. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to address the commission? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, so if there's no other comments, questions, or concerns, is there a commissioner that would like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for application 2118?
I'll make the motion to continue the public hearing for 21-18.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Rossetti, can you confirm that's for October 20th? Okay, well, I don't think we have to wait. So is there a second on the
I'll
motion?
second it. Is Commissioner Lascos.
I said affirmative, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Okay, so there's a motion to continue the public hearing for application 2118 from Commissioner Motto. There's a second from Commissioner Lascos, and staff has indicated the continuation would be October 20th. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Usel,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to continue till October 20th is passed 6-0. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Okay, final item on the agenda under other business. And the first is approval of the minutes for the September 8th, 2021 meeting. Does any commissioner have any comments or changes to the September 8th minutes?
It looked okay to me.
Okay. I'd just like to mention under A of the public hearing A, the very last sentence. It reads, the commissioners mentioned they would like staff to prepare a resolution. I believe it should read, the commissioners directed staff to prepare a favorable resolution regarding application 2120. Other than that slight wording change, I didn't see anything else. So is there any other comments, questions from the staff, from the commission rather, having to do with the September 8th minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve the September 8th minutes as amended?
Goodness, we're all asleep
Commissioner
here.
Dickey will motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Tiki. I was looking to see, is everybody on mute?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a second from Commissioner Laskos. So on the motion to approve the September 8th minutes, and Commissioner Tiki, that was as amended?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, made by Commissioner Tiki, seconded by Commissioner Laskos. Do roll call, Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Usel.
I'm going to abstain because I was excused.
Okay. And Commissioner Kelly.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion to approve the September 8th minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0-1. Okay, the other business item is the notation that the September 14th, 2021 minutes will be available on the website for review. They'll be on an upcoming agenda for approval. So seeing that there is no other item on the agenda, the chair declares the meeting adjourned as of 7:42 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Night, everybody.